Hello, it's Michael Pinter. We're at Bigger Flips. Trying to start flipping houses, or if you're doing that, grow your business. And we're going to start a series now of complicated conversations. We're going to talk about complicated conversations, mostly with sellers, because that's most of what we do, but also with buyers, with vendors, with employees. So we're going to start with what I think is the most common. I'm on Runyon Canyon today. It seems to get a lot of clarity here. I love it up here. When a seller asks too much for a house, so this happens all the time, and I get calls all the time from students or people that call me and go, "Oh, the seller wants too much." Almost every seller wants too much. You never want to give ultimatums. Once in a while we will. We'll talk about when it's okay, but most of the time you want to say your piece and not argue and not justify, right? What people who are new to the business do when a seller wants too much is they start whipping out the comps and the work estimates and saying, "Well, this is what I have to pay." This is not a logical decision. It's an emotional decision. Therefore, we cannot attack it logically. We have to attack the emotions, right? Remember, if people are selling us a house, or they have a possibility of selling it to us at a discount, it's for one of 5 reasons, which we'll do on another thing, but it's usually a financial reason, a time reason, a condition reason, an occupancy reason, or a municipal reason. Somebody's in that situation, is almost certainly there's a huge emotional component of selling the property, especially if you live there. So we don't want to attack this logically and explain dollar for dollar why we have to pay what we have to pay. What we want to do is just state what we can pay and be very careful in terminology. So this happens all the time. So someone will say, "I want $600,000 for the house." The house is worth $600,000, but it needs $150,000 worth of work, and what you can really pay is $350,000 for the house. So you simply say, "Listen, what I can pay based on the work I'm going to do, not what needs to be done." You don't want to get into an argument about what needs to be done or how much money you're going to make or any of that. Is $350,000. Here's my offer in writing. I'm going to email it to you. I'm going to mail it to you, whatever it is. You just want to state what you can pay, not get into an argument with them about how much the house is worth or anything. And then you want to follow up, right? And you follow up for years. And I followed up literally for years. Sometimes I just got a call from somebody who I spoke to 6 years ago and saying that they want to take my offer. And I got to see if the offer is still good. I got to go back and re-inspect the house. But the point is, we do not want to argue. We do not want to try to convince. We do not want to justify. Maybe 1 out of 100 sellers are so analytical that they don't want that stuff. But in general, I wouldn't worry about it. I would just say, this is what I can pay based on the work that I'm going to do, not based on what it needs. If you say what it needs, then you get into an argument about how much the house needs. Oh, you don't need to do the kitchen. It was just done in 1992. You can get into a whole discussion about a lot of things. You don't want to get into an argument. If you're justifying, you're losing. If you're arguing, you're losing. You do not want to do that. You just want to state what you can pay, and you want to move on. So it's a complicated conversation. It happens all the time, right? That's a typical situation where a seller knows that houses are selling in a certain price range. They ask for that price range, and then there's no way anybody can pay it because the house is in terrible condition. Just state, this is what I can pay. First, get their email address beforehand, so you can email it to them, send it to them, and then just call everyone to say, "I wonder if something changes." And you're going to hear something like, "Well, your offer's too low, your offer's too low, your offer's too low." At some point, the reality will catch up with their perception, right? You can't force it, right? And sometimes you don't get the house, right? And sometimes people will pay more. So I would say, do not justify, do not explain, do not argue. Just state what you can pay based on this is what I can pay based on the work I'm going to do. And you could throw in something like, I do the work for as cheap as anybody can. I get incredibly low cost materials and low cost labor, sort of planting a seed that other people are not going to be able to do the work for less, but you cannot break the fact that they think the work is not necessary. You can't. And so as they get more offers, you hope that your offer will come into their perception of what reality is, and that they will come to accept it, or maybe negotiate, get much closer. But that's what it is. It's a complicated conversation. Almost every seller wants more than what you can pay. That's the truth. If a seller agrees to my first price, I know something's wrong. So be careful. It's a complicated conversation. We're going to go through dozens of these because there's a lot of different complicated conversations. You can have most of them are going to be with sellers. If you're interested in learning how to flip houses, or how I do what I do, or any information, my phone number is below, 516-209-2010, or you can email me or respond here with a comment or the question. Thanks very much for watching. Thanks very, very much for watching.